You're listening to the Oracle Talk Radio Network.
Hello, I'm Sabrina Gardner.
I'm Dasha.
You're tuned in to Real Talk with Jennie, where movies get real and the popcorn's always hot.
Sorry about that, guys. I did not change the intro, but welcome to Real Talk with Jennie, where we dive into the latest films to see if they're worth your time. And I watch a lot of movies too, so I just wanted to let you know that I am not new to the movies. I'm actually pretty much addicted to movies. I've been watching movies, oh my God, since I was a kid. And in high school, I was in visual communication, which was pretty fun. And it was funny because I did a movie review. So I'm sorry about that. And it's still showing. Is it still showing? Am I even on all the places I'm supposed to be? So bear with me. This is the first show. And I'm supposed to be. I don't know if I'm live picking up. But anyways, I was in visual communications in high school. And I did the movie review. And it was funny because it was called Jennie LaRue with the movie review. Pretty funny. But anyways, this is the first movie review podcast called Real Talk with Jennie. So today we're exploring two horror movies. I don't know if I want to call them movies, but that promise to bring chills, but may leave you pretty cold. And so The Woman in the Yard and The Dark and the Wicked. I just watched that one last Saturday night with my son. And The Woman in the Yard, let's get into it right now before I go off on a tantrum. So The Woman in the Yard and The Dark and the Wicked. And let's just say it's a little, I don't know what to say about the we'll start with The Dark and the well, should we start with The Dark and the Wicked, or should we start with The Woman in the Yard? But I'll have to say The Woman in the Yard kind of gave me mixed, but the Dark and the Wicked was kind of boring. They say everybody who watched it said it was kind of a sleeper, like it made you fall asleep. But this one might keep you awake longer than you'd like. So let's break it down using the cinema scale. And yes, I've included the trailer timestamps for y'all, so you can reference each moment I'm talking about. So let's go ahead and play. We'll start with the premise of the first one. So we got the siblings come home to take care of. That's the Dark and the Wicked. Am I saying it right? Yes, The Dark and the Wicked. Yes, The Dark and the Wicked. So the siblings come home to care for their dying father on a rural farm. But almost immediately something feels wrong with them. And this isn't just about grief and death. It's about an evil presence that's already present and growing stronger. So let's go ahead and play I hope I play the right clip because I can't remember which one I had. We'll see what this one is. Yeah, this is the Dark and the Wicked. I don't know if you can see that. Make it any bigger.
Your mama, she was saying things. She would sit right beside him just whispering. But she wasn't talking to him.
So the premise starts at 15 to 30 timestamp.
She didn't believe in God. What does it matter whether you believe?
So the setup's pretty chilling on this.
What if she saw something?
Hi, Cindy.
Out there.
Told y'all not to come.
There are things in this world.
No,
horrible things.
The trailer's a lot scarier. Gives you a much scarier feel to the movie than you would think the movie's about.
I saw something.
She wasn't crazy.
Do you smell him? He's close now.
He's not out there. He's already here.
So the siblings come home to take care of their dying father. Okay. Let me just get this out of here. Remove this. And without removing myself. Let's put this. Okay. So the children come home to care for their dying father. Okay. So immediately you feel like something's off. And like I said, it's not just about grief and death, it's about an evil presence that's growing stronger as the movie goes. And the saddest part makes it so chilling. I think the setting is very chilling. It feels grounded, believable, and the horror grows from a space we all understand, family, trauma, So the time stamped 0.15 to 30. That's the setup. So the entertainment value on this, from the very first shot to the final moment, this movie maintains dread, as you can see. Not shock, not gore, just dread. And just like this gloom. You get the grieving feeling of your family dying. And that I think that makes that so much more terrifying in the beginning of the movie. So the pacing is methodical, but the my family has mixed feelings on being boring and it wasn't going anywhere. Now, I watched the movie. I didn't think it was that boring. The pacing wasn't that bad. You're always waiting for the next thing to happen. And honestly, I had to cover my eyes. And I know that sounds crazy, but I don't like all that scary stuff that much. I'm more of a supernatural person. So I did cover my eyes a good bit of the movie. So even if you're not sure if you want to see it, you might want it, because there's so many mixed feelings about this movie. I mean, Rotten Tomatoes gave it really bad. But I think it's worth the watch. So you might want to watch it. But the theme, it's getting back to the time steps. If you want to see the dready part, so go to the 0.45 to about 1. So you'll be able to see what I'm talking about the dread and everything. But the theme of this movie is soaked with psychological horror. And like I said, it's about loss, yes, but also about guilt, helplessness, and spiritual decay. And you can see that all through. I thought the actors did a pretty good job portraying that. I am a writer, and my son always said, "Mom, do a movie review because you know everything about how it's going to end, what's going on." And so I got that feeling that the actors did a really good job setting up the story. They had a lot of emotion in it. I got the feel that I was invested in the story. But like I said, the mixed feeling, other people think it was terrible. So it's up to you guys to make that decision. Like, it poses the question, what happens when you can't protect the people you love? And that's what the actress in this movie is trying to do. She's trying to help her mom. She's trying to help her dad, and things just don't go the way they want to. And if something out there, they know, that, and that evil is there. You can feel the presence, and it's. I don't know. I thought it wasn't that bad, but the themes aren't spoon fed either. They're embedded in the whole story, and in quiet moments in the silence of the movie that you get that looks exchanged between the two siblings, the sister and the brother, the two main characters, and you get that quiet moments. I thought that part was pretty good portraying that. But go to trailer stamp 105 to 105, and that you'll be able to see that more. But let's get back to the acting. Like I said, Marion Ireland, I think she did a phenomenal job, and you can feel the weariness in her bones, the emotional exhaustion in her face throughout the movie. And you really, I think she did good. And Michael Abbott Jr. also grounds his performance in realism. That's the brother. And together they feel like real people, like two real siblings. Okay. I got that feeling that they did a good job on that, portraying brothers and sisters. I got that. They did really good. So together they feel like real people reacting to the unimaginable stress of what's going on. I'm not going to tell you, I don't want to give any spoilers, but the mothers, they had to go to the farm, because the mom was in trouble because they have a dying father. But I'm not going to give any spoilers. And that's what's hard about doing a movie review. You don't want to give the spoilers. So I think the actors did a good job in this horror movie. And the key here is that you don't scream or run wildly out of the room, but you feel like, I can't watch this. I can't watch this anymore. So if you're looking for that tense, I think that was scary. I mean, I don't think it was that boring as some people say it is, but it's a slow burn, very slow, and believable. No, I wouldn't say it's believable. So if you go to the timestamp 1.25 to 1.35, you're going to see what I mean. See, you can write these down if you want to go back, because I don't want to show it to you. I want you to experience it yourself to see if it's worth watching. Okay, now the dialogue, the movie barely talks, and it doesn't need to. There's power in silence. You don't have to talk. You know what's going on. You see the tension, you see what's coming. Like, what the hell's going on? And a few lines that do exist are loaded with meaning and often followed by silence. So you'll be watching the movie and you see what's going on, but there's silence. And so you understand get that scary feel that forces you to sit and wait. And what the hell just happened, or what was said? I thought it was pretty good. It was pretty personal because it makes you feel like you're eavesdropping on the family. People are mourning the loss. I don't want to tell any spoilers, but okay, spoiler alert. But don't close your eyes, close your ears, whatever. Something bad happens to the mom, okay? I don't want to spoil it. So, but you can feel what happens after that. You can say, oh, fuck. Hi, Joe. Oh, yes, it's going to be awesome, darling. Yes, you when you're watching the movie, you feel their pain for what the hell happened, So I was shocked when I saw it. Go, what they did? Like I said, other people said it was kind of boring, but this film is visually stunning in the most disturbing way. So you got the dark hallway of the house, the cold, the empty rooms. You got the person dying in the other room. You got shots that just last a few seconds to a little bit too long. Makes you anxious enough that you want to cover your eyes. And I don't care who you are, but farmhouses are freaking creepy. Okay, it felt like, but especially when you go into the farmhouse and you see all the old farm equipment, you get that feeling that you're actually there by the visual, just the visuals. Okay, and then you have the sheep. Okay, now I learned a lot about sheep, and I also did a YouTube video about sheep. How there's a Judas sheep, but the sheep really freaked me out. Okay, so now I look at sheep different. So the cinematography tells the story. I think that was the best part, and just as much as the characters. I think it's the characters and the cinematography made the movie. And you go to trailer stamp 0.35 to 0.45, and you'll see what I mean. Okay, so the editing. What I really appreciated about the editing here is that it respects your brain waves, okay? It doesn't cut away to just hide and scare you, like some movies do. And instead, it makes you linger. It lets the tension stew, and then it hits you with something you didn't expect. And that's when I had to cover my eyes, Joe. And Cindy, if you're still there, I had to cover my eyes. I mean, I don't know. The older I get, the scarier it is that I can't watch some things. But the soundtrack, the score is barely noticeable, and that's what makes it terrifying. The whole movie, it hums in the background, and if you have a really good sound system, and I want to talk about that. My son's going to have to come on here and tell you he got a new projector, and the sound system is phenomenal. It's like you can hear whispers in the back of your head, like when it really makes you scary. And I would really like to get them as a sponsor for the show, because if you don't have the right sound system, and you're not going to get that same effect. Okay. Because I used to love to go to the movies, but after COVID, I kind of just stay at home. And I think if you have a home theater system, that's what makes watching movies even better. I got to take a sip of this perclamped. Wait a minute. I was in the pool. Can't you tell my tan? Yes. So you need a really good sound system and you need a good projector. If you want that movie theater feel, and that's when the editing and the soundtrack and everything come together with the visual and the sound that makes a movie a movie. So, like I said, the editing was phenomenal. The soundtrack was where it should be because it creeps under your skin and amplifies the sound. So that's that hum in the background that something's breathing in the walls. And that's what you want. You want to be scared. And this movie does that with the sound. So the trailer's timestamp throughout the trailer. You can go and look at. I have it all. I'm going to probably stick it in the show notes because I think it's very important when you go back and you go and listen to that. The directing, Brian Bertino had a vision, and you can see that, and he executed it flawlessly. And you can tell he wanted to make you feel this movie, this farm, not just a jump, but ache, the grief, the dread that the sister and the brother was feeling. You want to feel that, and you felt it. And I tell you what, I'm not going to give you no more, Joe. You're a pool boy too. You want to be my pool boy? I need one. So you know what? DM me and I'll set you up. So this movie holds tension like a master. And I'm telling you what, I thought it did a good job in that. And the visual language is so cohesive and the atmosphere consistent with that dread. And the emotional impact lands every time throughout the movie, which I thought was really good. And I'm getting to the it factor. There's something about this film that can't shake off and when it's over. And I thought about that, even though my other family members said they couldn't watch it. I thought the movie stayed with me just enough, and it doesn't try it too loud. It tries to be true, and that's what elevates it. So this isn't just a horror movie. It's a portrait of grief and supernatural teeth. So if you're into that kind of stuff, and go to the timestamp 150 and to 2, and you're going to see that what I mean by the grief. So my final verdict, this is Jennie's final verdict on this movie, The Dark and the Wicked, isn't for everyone. Like I said, it's slow and grim and emotionally brutal. And I will let you, I told you I had to hide. But if you're the type who doesn't just want to watch horror, but actually feel it, this one is the best kind. So I'm giving it a strong 6 out of 10. And let me know if you feel the same way in the comments after you watch it. You go back and let me know. Now, that being said, let's talk about the other one, The Woman in the Yard. Okay, so this one to me was a better story, but I'm a little confused still about the movie. So I'm going to go ahead and play. I'm going to play the trailer for you, and you let me know what you think.
Right. And the wind is still. She comes to you like a sudden chill. Draped in black from head to toe. How she got there, you'll never know.
Today's the day. Today Today's the day.
Today's the day. Today's the day. Well, let me get this off. There you go. Now, I know the trailer might look quiet and slow, maybe even boring. I didn't think it was boring, but the woman in the yard got under my skin just a little bit and stayed there. And here's why. The premise: a grieving woman haunted by loss finds a bloody stranger in her yard. Now, think about it. Who wouldn't? This woman wouldn't leave. It's eerie, grounded, personal, and it feels like something that could happen, which makes it even scarier. So, like, put yourself in that position. There's this woman in your, and first of all, you have to be way out there in the boonies. You know, houses are miles apart. It's another old farmhouse, and there's a woman dressed in black. Her face is covered, but her hands are bloody. Kind of creeps me out. But if you go to timestamp 010 to 025, you're going to see what I mean. Now, the entertainment value, yeah, it's a slow burn, but it keeps you curious enough to keep watching. And every time Ramona steps outside, I was holding my breath. Not from fear or for being scared, a jump scare, but dread of what was she going to uncover. And I kind of felt bad for her because she was kind of like crippled because something happened to her. And if you go to timestamp 030 to 45, you're going to see that. So the theme, we got grief, regret, sort of like the first movie, and trauma. And this one doesn't hit you over the head with symbolism either. It just leaves you in its characters, and you feel the character, and you feel it in every look, every still moment. And you got the son, and she's always the Ramona's always getting on her son, the oldest son, because he wants to go out and do something. He wants to protect the family, and she doesn't want him to. So timestamp 050 to 105, and you're going to see what I mean. Excuse me. Now the acting, Danielle Deadweiler carries this movie throughout. She carries it. Quiet rage, quiet fear. And you can read everything in her eyes. She does a good job at doing that. And she says so little in the movie. If you go to trailer stamp 110 to 120, you're going to see that. So the dialogue, sparse, but effective. And when people do speak in the movie, it feels natural, which I like. It's not like a movie. It's like real people processing everything that's happening. There's a stranger in their yard. Why is the stranger there? And so you'll see that. And if you go to timestamp 125 to 135, you're going to see that. And the cinematography, long takes, muted colors, the house and the yard filled wide open, and yet, claustrophobic. You want to leave. You don't want to be there. So if you go to that's 140 to 150, you're going to see that. The editing, the film lets the scenes breathe. And some might call it slow, like a slow movie. I call it patience, and it makes you sit in discomfort, and you want it to go on. But the timestamp on that is 155 to 2. Well, let's talk about that soundtrack. Haunting, subtle, no loud strings, chords, cheap jolts, or just mood, and it works. And you'll see that in timestamp 210 to 220. Now, the directing, a focused, confident hand. You can tell the director trusted the actors and the silence. And that's rare. You can't find that these days. And you can see that at 225 to 235. Now, the id factor. This one is not flashy, but it lingers. It's unsettling. It's human and different. Honestly, I'm glad I watched it. And I'm glad I watched both of them because, you see these trailers and some of the trailers look really good, and you can tell right away if it's going to be a good one. So I would definitely go watch the trailers, watch the scores, the timestamps. So what's my score? The Woman in the Yard, I give it a 7 out of a 10. It's not perfect. but it's heart, tension, and one hell of a lead performance. I thought she did a really good job. But do I understand what happened? No, I don't understand what happened. I still don't know what happened in this movie. I don't, and I'm not going to give spoilers. I'm still a little perplexed of what happened in the end. So I don't know for sure. Now the wicked one, I know exactly what happened. I mean, it was all pure evil in the house. But this one, I still don't know. There's a lot of, this is a spoiler alert. The ending, it could be two possible things. Either there was an accident. This is spoiler alert. And the accident, turn it off. Did she die in the accident? And this was her afterlife? And she was a ghost? Did she commit suicide? I still don't know. So I will go back and I will go look and see what's on Google and see if someone could just explain to me the ending. So are they worth watching, both of them? Yeah, I would watch them. They weren't great. I mean, I wouldn't put a lot of time into it, but it's a good date movie. If you want to cuddle with your boyfriend or husband or significant other, I wouldn't watch them by yourself at night. But so there you have it. The woman in the yard quietly creeps in and surprised me. Okay. Surprised me a little bit, I have to say. I didn't, and the lady in the yard, I didn't cover my eyes like The Dark and the Wicked. Now that just landed right in my, I didn't like that. But what we do have here are two movies. I wouldn't call them hype. I wouldn't give them hype. I wouldn't say they're a hidden gem because they're not. If you watch either of these, I want to know what you think. So if you go watch them this weekend, I want you to tell me in the comments, tag me. Let's talk horror. So catch you next Friday. I haven't decided yet what I'm going to watch tomorrow. But my son wants to watch Dune. I'm not sure I want to. I like spooky. I don't like horror. I really don't like horror. I like to be scared. So let me know what you think. So there you have it. We'll see you next week. Unfortunately, I got find my own room for this because it's gonna play Chasing Prophecy. But here we go. It was great having you. Thank you, Cindy, for coming in the chat. Thank you, Joe, as always. Share the link. I want to know what movie you want me to watch. If you're watching on the recorded version, definitely leave me a message. And if you listening on Podbeam or Spotify or iHeart, I want to know what you think and what movies you want me to watch. We'll see you next time. And here's my outro. We'll see you next time on Real Talk. It won't shut off. Oh my God, it won't shut off. End. Oh, okay, we're stuck here. Oh, it's just going to play the